What do you think are the chances that Kosovo doesn't get its independence?
Well, I would say I would actually want to answer the question, what are the chances for Kosovo to get independence? And the chances are big. It's just a matter of what type of independence will we get. I have my hopes and I have my worst fears. My hopes are that Kosovo will become independent with some type of agreement from general agreement from European Union. I.e., the best case scenario would be that now we know Russia is against it, America is for it, and the whole European Union decides that Kosovo accepts the independence of Kosovo to be an overseas independence, as they have pronounced, as the Ahtisaari plan imagines it, and the whole of European Union agrees with the Ahtisaari plan. My worst fears are that Kosovo might, in the worst case scenario, next year Kosovo will become independent without the European Union having a unified position, and that countries start recognizing it slowly one by one, which means that in next 10 years my passport might not be recognized by everybody in Europe. Say it will be difficult for me to go to Spain, Greece, Romania, but the countries that will accept it would be Britain, France, maybe Germany, maybe Italy, but we slowly start convincing the rest of the countries, maybe for the next decade, to accept Kosovo independence. So it's all a question of what type of independence are we going to get. That's I think what we're looking at. The dilemma is, what type of independence will Kosovo have? Will it have a recognized one by the whole of Europe or by part of the Europe?
Do you think that that Albanians in Kosovo will go against the United Nations if it decides against the independence? So there is no alternative.
Albanians will, as it looks now, in my daily contacts that I have with politicians and with analysts and with background information I'm getting in Kosovo, is that Albanians would not necessarily go entirely on their own to announce to declare independence. Albanians will wait for the blessing of America in declaring independence, and America is likely after 10th of December to say, okay guys, you've waited long enough, next year we give you green light to declare independence. That's what Albanians are waiting for. Declaring of independence could have been done this year, but didn't happen. So Albanians are waiting for this declaration to go outside the United Nations, because now even the biggest countries, not only Albania, believe that independence will not come through United Nations Security Council. That scenario almost failed. Most countries agree that scenario failed. That is why we're at this stage of talks, because United Nations talks failed. So in the best case scenario, nobody is expecting that you will have a resolution in the Security Council. But Albanians are still waiting for some of their friends, for example, some of their European Western countries, to get their act together and agree among themselves whether they want to accept it or not. This is what Albanians are waiting for. Otherwise, the declaration of independence will happen with at least the blessing of America. It will not happen without the blessing of America.
Are there any other political alternatives? I mean, the reintegration of Kosovo into Serbia, I guess it's impossible for you. But what about division of Kosovo, for example, to the Albanian and the Serbian part?
That is a really undesirable result. The division of Kosovo would be undesirable by, not only to say by Albanians, but Kosovo Serbs. You know why? Because the majority of Kosovo Serbs, about 120,000 Kosovo Serbs, live south of the Ibar River. So if Kosovo divides, which could be in the worst case scenario, the talks last so long that Kosovo de facto divides further than today, then the people who will be suffering the most are Kosovo Serbs, because that means that Kosovo Serbs that live south of Kosovo and not in the north will be will be required to move. Population will move. I mean, that is something tragic that I think the international community will not allow, because the consequence of Kosovo division is not only Kosovo. Then it's you open Pandora's box in Macedonia. Then it means that Albanians of Macedonia would require to divide from the rest of Macedonia. Then it means Albanians will say, then Preševo Valley should join Kosovo, and the North should join Serbia. So I don't think any of the two delegations are ready for the consequences of the division, and that is why I hope it won't happen. But if it does, we're stuck in a larger Balkan conflict than just Kosovo independence or not.
But isn't the independence of Kosovo, isn't that already like a Pandora's box for the wider region?
It is not, because Kosovo is historically was a province of former Yugoslavia. It had all the rights that other republic had, apart from the right of secession. So it's not like Republika Srpska, which was formed during the war and was formed with genocide. Kosovo was a unified political entity, even in good, peaceful Yugoslav times. So you cannot. I do not accept the argument that Kosovo is already opening Pandora's box, considering that actually each other place that has divided in former Yugoslavia, out of these divisions in the 90s, the borders have stayed the same. So we are not suggesting to change Kosovo borders. We are suggesting, in a long process of negotiation that didn't happen through war, that is happening through peaceful process in the moment, through negotiations, to divide. And why? Because Serbia proved it did not treat its Albanian, say, if they consider it their own citizens, Serbia didn't treat their own citizens well. Imagine, Serbia wants to keep Kosovo in its own territory, and in the last election that Serbia had, Albanians don't even figure in the voters list. So imagine, it's a country that wants the territory, but it doesn't want its people. Because even formally, Albanians didn't appear in Serbia's voters list. So if a country behaves like that, of course, it's proved through a decade that it cannot administer Kosovo. That Milošević Serbia certainly couldn't administer it. It used violence against Albanians, but the current Serbia doesn't recognize Albanians as its citizens when it's even formally in its last election.
You said there are a lot of Serbs all over Kosovo, but you have to agree that that in the north there is the biggest Serbian community, a coherent Serbian community in the north of Kosovo. If Kosovo, when Kosovo gets independence, or if it gets its independence, would Kosovo allow northern Serbs to separate from Kosovo?
I don't think that, it's the Serbs of the north have not required their own independence. I mean, if they want to, it's a very fair question. Would Albanians let the north be independent? But then my question is, would Serbia allow the Preševo Valley to be independent? That would be my reaction to this. If we want to trade territories, then Serbia has to allow for Preševo Valley, Preševo, Medveđa, and Bujanovac, 3 municipalities in South Serbia, to become independent, which we are not asking. We are not asking Serbia to make independent all its minorities. We are only asking for Serbia to let go of its former province, which anyway had all the rights in former Yugoslavia, as most other republics did.